You're listening to an indie wrestling podcast with Garrett G Wiz Bond. Nice to talk to you.
You too, you well?
Yeah, I'm good. How are you?
Yeah, very good, cheers, mate, very good.
Thank you so much for coming on the podcast, by the way.
Oh, no worries at all, no worries at all.
So yeah, let's get started. So, for those who don't know you, explain your character and tell us a little bit about yourself.
Sure. So I'm Garrett Bond. The nickname is G Wiz, G-W-I-Z, and I'm a second generation wrestler. So that kind of goes into my character because my old man used to wrestle. And he was Dave the Soul Man Bond. So I just kind of have his name and I've gone on that side of things. I think in Britain there's not too many second generation wrestlers, so it's kind of the thing to capitalise on, you know?
Yeah, perfect.
So yeah.
Being a second generation wrestler, do you find it comes with more pressure or less every time you perform?
I mean, I would say a bit of both. I know that sounds vague. The pressure is because, I mean, when he was doing it, it was World of Sport glory days, really. So the people that are still on the scene and the older guys that are still there obviously remember that golden age, and so the pressure's there. But at the same time, because of the sort of legacy he built, it makes it easier, you know. I know I've had bookings largely because of that. So it's made it easier in that sense. But then at the same time, I'm wrestling in front of a promoter who books my dad, so therefore I want to do a good job in that sense. So it's a bit of both, really.
Oh, perfect. Nick, who runs our podcast, asked, where did you get the G Wiz nickname?
Do you know what? That's been around. That's been with me for years. Probably. I'm trying to think. Even back in college, it kind of started, and I mean, like, because my name's Gareth. My brother used to call me, like, everything was G related, so it was like G Funk, G Vibes, G Wiz, and G Wiz kind of just stuck with that as well, and I've had that for forever. Like at work, I get G Wiz more than I get my first name, you know. So it just made sense to keep that in there, and I mean it's quite an easy one to stand out as well, you know. So it fit well with wrestling, with bringing that. So it kind of came from my personal life into the wrestling rather than creating that moniker in there, you know?
Yeah, perfect. So what's your favourite match so far in your career?
Do you know what? I was thinking about this because I thought, I wonder if they'll ask me that. And there's a lot for different reasons. I think one of my most recent favourite one was against LJ Heron at House of Pain in Beeston. We've had a couple, but there was one last month, and everything just went really well with that. The crowd were with us through the whole side of things. But then I can go back and go, do you know what? I've had like my first matches where I had any story were with Alex Gracie, yeah. And you learn so much from someone like him. So I've got a lot to be thankful for in that sense, so therefore they stand out. But I've just had so many, but again, for different reasons. So I think personally, it would have to be one of those. Like I say, more recently was with LJ Heron, but if I'm thinking through the whole thing, there's been a lot of different matches that stand out for very different reasons. You know, some of them it can be one spot in there. Like any time I get to work with Paul Malin, yeah, is just a hilarious affair. It's like we wrestled last night in Hucknall, and yeah, it's effortless, you know. And you just enjoy every moment in there with him. So yeah, things like that.
Exactly, yeah. So basically, every time you touch, magic happens, basically.
Yeah, it is. Well, even if it don't my end, I know. Either way, if he's in the match, either way, it's got to be entertaining for the fans. So if I botched half of the spot, the fans would still be entertained just by him. So
that's perfect. What would be a dream match for you as a wrestler? In terms of an opponent.
Yeah, good question. I think it would. I think if it's a dream match, I think, and I imagine it like being built up well, like even against another second generation person. Just the storyline would be there, you know, and even someone. And I wouldn't have thought if you'd said that 10 minutes ago, I probably wouldn't have even thought along them lines, but it's caught me off guard in that sense. So even someone like Davey Boy Smith Jr., who's wrestled over here and stuff and doing that, but there's a relevance there. 2 second-generation wrestlers. There's a history there in that sense. So something like that, I think, rather than just like literally going, I'd love to wrestle so-and-so, I'd love to wrestle this person. I mean, who wouldn't like to get a Stone Cold Stunner, you know? Who wouldn't like to take that or be put in the sharpshooter by Bret Hart? So they're obviously the dream things on that, but I just actually think from a realistic point of view and from a story mode, something like that where it's against another second-generation wrestler, or it might be third generation, but yeah.
Perfect. Dream match as a fan? Like, any you can do past, present, whatever suits you.
Okay, dream match as a fan. I mean, I feel like I've seen a lot of dream match in that sense, you know, like with my favourites. But that's a good one. If it was a dream match, I'd probably rather see one of like my mates versus someone high profile. So even someone like and like maybe Joe Connors versus Cena or something like that, you know, just because there's that passion behind it with it being one of your mates.
Yeah, exactly.
There's a different spin on it because, like, I mean, Stone Cold and Bret Hart are like my favourites, and they've had their classic and things like that. They would have been my dream matches, you know.
Exactly. Yeah. Do you have any hobbies outside of wrestling?
I'm very much into the gym and fitness. Yeah. So I would sort of class that as a bit of a hobby. Like, the plan will be to do something today where I'm doing a workout, but wrestling is the big thing, you know. So if I've got time to do something, I'd probably rather just be wrestling. So in terms of like another hobby or something where I could dedicate a lot of time, I used to belong to a rifle club.
Cool.
So for shooting, but again, it was kind of like, well, the time can't be split properly between wrestling and shooting to get any better. So I ditched shooting. So yeah, not really anything of consequence.
Yeah. Would you ever consider working in the indie circuit here over in Ireland in the north?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, to be fair, I'd consider everything. It doesn't faze me in that sense. And I say that there's talent all around the UK, Ireland, and whatnot. So yeah, I certainly wouldn't put any boundaries on where I'd go or for who, you know. Have
you heard of OTT? Yeah.
Only through doing a little bit of research, you know, on you guys and stuff, and seeing that. And it looks like you kind of see it seems to be growing pretty quick. Yeah,
it's been growing now for the past. Well, it's been around for about 2 or 3 years. About 2 or 3 years, but it's really got big over the last kind of year and a half.
Yeah,
because obviously the likes of Pete Dunne, Mark Haskins, and a lot of the Irish lads like Jordan Devlin have made obviously OTT what it is. Obviously Ryan Smile is another one, but yeah, like we have so many talented people coming from England, Scotland, and obviously ourselves in Ireland. So like, and obviously exactly, yeah.
And I think probably like things like the UK tournament that the WWE had probably helps raise that profile, you know, for everyone. So that probably would have helped a fair bit too.
Yeah, exactly. And then obviously we bring over some guys from America too that kind of help us as well, like the likes of War Machine is coming over in. They're coming in August along with Matt Seidel and Ricochet. So like,
okay, great.
They're the ones we want coming over, obviously, but obviously we like to showcase our own talent as well.
Yeah.
Obviously Jordan Devlin is our hottest prospect at the moment.
Yeah.
In terms of and Tucker as well from the north.
Yeah.
Like two guys who are excellent in my actually Jordan Devlin's probably my favourite at the moment.
Yeah.
The guy is just amazing.
Yeah, they did well on the UK tournament, both of those guys.
Actually I have a question about that.
Yep.
As a fellow UK wrestler yourself, would you like, obviously if they do another tournament like that, would you like to be a part of it?
Oh, absolutely. Like, I mean, I was buzzing as a fan, you know, like when everything got announced and you see the people in there and you're like, just buzzing off of it. So to be part of it would be unreal, you know. It would be amazing. Yeah,
it's a great. No, because when I saw the likes of Jordan, Tucker, and Tyler Bay, who I've met now about 5 or 6 times, I marked out when he won the title. And I've met him. Oh, Pete Dunne, I'm a big Pete Dunne fan as well, because obviously the guy is just...
Yeah.
Since I first met him at, I think it was in the end of 2015, I said this guy, like already he was big on the circuit, but he's gone up tenfold over the last 2 years or so.
Yeah. Well, how good was their match at NXT? You know, for the belt. I mean, that was.
You could even call that probably WWE's match of the year, in my opinion. I think it is.
Yeah, it was unreal. That was.
Absolutely. Do you have any favorite TV shows or movies?
I mean, for movies, like as a comedy, Dumb and Dumber, hands down. I could watch that 5 times a day, I reckon, and laugh a little bit more every time. But TV shows, I'm big into the one that everyone's into, Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
Got the books, read the books, watched the show. But also Walking Dead. I love The Walking Dead.
The Walking Dead is just brilliant.
Yeah, I think that's due back like mid-October.
I presume do you see the trailer for it?
Do you know what? I haven't seen the trailer yet.
It's brilliant.
I need to watch it. I've heard like the posters as Negan and Rick face off, but which made me imagine like the kind of boxing posters or the MMA posters, you know. But yeah, so I'm excited for that to come back. But right now, Game of Thrones is the.
That's the main show now at the moment.
Yeah. So, and then I mean other kind of film. I mean, my diversity in films is so varied. I like French horror films and like world cinema stuff. You know, some decent Spanish films and as well as your sort of commercial ones as well. I saw Alien Covenant, and that was really good. I liked Prometheus a lot as well. So them type of films as well.
Perfect. If you weren't wrestling, what would you be doing at the moment? Like if you couldn't wrestle?
Do you know what? Like, I've not been, in the grand scheme of things, I've not been wrestling all that long. I've only been wrestling for a few years now, a couple of years. And I've got a day job, which I absolutely love anyway, you know.
Yeah.
That wouldn't change regardless, because, like I say, I love that job that I do anyway. So it would I mean, with me, I can't sort of sit still for too long. So there would no doubt be another thing that I'd pick up or run with. Because wrestling for me was, I mean, it wasn't even really a thought process up until when I started. And like if you'd asked me 5 years ago, are you going to wrestle? I'd be like, no, probably won't. It wouldn't have even been in that. And I think probably the catalyst was when my old man passed away in 2012, and then a few years later was inducted into the British Hall of Fame. So me and my brothers, I've got an older and a younger brother, we went down to the Hall of Fame to pick up the certificate and whatnot. And I think somewhere in me that probably sparked it a bit, you know. A lot of the old wrestlers were sort of saying, "Oh, are you boys doing it? Are you getting involved?" And I hadn't really thought about it too much. And then I thought, you know what? Like, why wouldn't I? I love wrestling. I've watched wrestling all my life. Why wouldn't I give it a go? And that's when I kind of looked at House of Pain and found them. They're down the road from my house, you know. And I'm like, so all this time, I probably could have got into this a lot sooner.
Exactly. Yeah.
So yeah.
Any personal people to watch out for on the indies, especially in the UK scene?
I feel like they're already little celebs in their own right now, but people like Gabriel Kidd, I mean, sensational. He's only 20 years old and is already like a seasoned vet, you know. Visage, who's with a few promotions. I think he makes his Southside debut in the next few weeks. He is also like one to watch, definitely one to watch. It's perfect for the wrestling scene, you know. So Visage, Gabriel Kidd, who else is there? There's so many. Like good talents coming around, and I think that's just because of the boom that it seems in British wrestling.
Yeah, I was actually going to agree with you on that. Yeah, British wrestling has gone it's in such a boom period right now.
Yeah,
it's just incredible.
Yeah, like you say, it's like, and even people that are only wrestling, maybe not been wrestling too long, even people like myself, and suddenly you go, right, you got a decent match against so and so who's been wrestling 10, 15 years, and you're like, well, they're like, again, like we spoke earlier, the dream matches. You're like, I just wouldn't have pictured it, you know.
Exactly.
So yeah, so there's a good few. I mean, off the top of my head, they're the two that come to mind. Again, Gabriel Kidd's in WCPW and champion there, and So it's not like he's one to watch, like he's not established. But I just think in terms of longevity, he's only 20 years old, and he's already so bloody good. The only way's up for him, you know.
Good stuff. Do you have any road stories? Any good stories to tell? If you can, of course.
Any good stories to tell? Not really. As in, and maybe it's because of my time. I haven't been doing the circuit for 10 years or so. Yeah. But everything's been. I mean, like I say, there's not been too many crazy ones. Like I've driven a lot of times as the driver, so I'm a designated driver type of thing. So if I'm driving, it's never a big thing. And even when we've got to venues and stuff, it's so time restricted. As in, and this sounds boring but like where you go, right, we've got to get there, set up, get ready, whatnot, and then you just, I say you just want to. Maybe it's just me. I just want to get home and have a cup of tea, you know.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm not too crazy. I've done my party years and stuff. So I worked on the road, like with the job from when I was 21. Every 6 weeks I'd go to a different town, so promoting health clubs. So every 6 weeks I was in a different area. So pretty much that whole travelling side of things, as in being on the road, was my life way before wrestling. And at 21, that's when there was a lot more of the funny stories, you know. Whereas now, after doing that for so many years, now I'm just like, right, get me home, get me a cup of tea, and I'll be sorted. So.
Perfect. What part are you from? London?
Yeah, I'm from southeast London, so Lewisham.
I was actually born in London myself, Canning Town, you know, East London.
Oh yeah.
Oh
yeah. So
family are Irish, but I was born in Canning Town, so I recognise the accent.
By your accent.
Yeah, I know my accent's gone a long time ago now.
Yeah. So I'm from Lewisham, Catford way. I mean, even there, I moved to Kent when I was like about 6 or 7. So I lived there. I lived in Wales for 3 years, and then I started with the company where I was doing that gym promotions when I was 21, and that was it. You know, I did music at college, left music, and straight into that job. So nothing music related at all. But it's been great with that, and so a lot of travelling, seen a lot of the UK and elsewhere as well. So
final question: would you have any advice for people going into wrestling?
If it's something that you're into, then definitely just do it. Like, you know, even if it's a case of give it a try. Some people will purely do it. They've got no aspiration as such and to get to the WWE or New Japan or anything like that. Just do it if it makes you happy. It's like you sort of said, potentially it could be seen as it's just a hobby, you know. It's like going, we go I don't know, ice skating every Saturday. Well, we go wrestling every Saturday, you know. Yeah. So if you're into it and you're potentially thinking of getting started, get started. I mean, from my point of view, I wish I'd picked it up 10 years ago. So the earlier you start, the better it is, in my opinion. But definitely, if you're into wrestling, give it a try. Worst case scenario, you say it's not for me, and you go, no harm's done. But it could be one of them things where you do it, you give it a try, and you get that passion. And the next few years, we're seeing you on TV every week. So don't regret it. Yeah, it's that classic thing about you regret the things you don't do than the ones you do. You know.
Perfect, Gareth. Thank you very much for your time.
No worries at all.
Very appreciated, and good luck with House of Pain.
Thank you.
Perfect. Thanks very much, Gareth.
Cheers, Gareth. See you, mate.
See you. Bye. So yes, that was Garrett G Wiz Bond here on IWP podcast.